Sansa let the dogs out, and it looks like Ramsay's on the menu tonight.
I cannot give you back your homes, but perhaps I can give you justice.
Hello folks, Charlie Westeros here, and I'm so very excited to discuss Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 9, entitled Battle of the Bastards, and what a battle we got. Get it? Got. Game of Thrones, got. The tragedy of Rickon, Stark, and 1-1 aside, I think we could all breathe a sigh of relief to finally see some form of retribution for the Starks this episode. But first, let's address events at Meereen. Now, although the Battle of Meereen wasn't quite as intense as the battle for Winterfell, I was incredibly stoked and so happy to see our very first major battle with dragons. And man, was that epic. I know not everyone is a fan of Daenerys, but I will say that she gave off major Aegon the Conqueror vibes this episode, and seeing the dragons go ham on the slavers have absolutely validated my belief that the Princess and the Queen short story about a Targaryen civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons would make for an epic film. I will say though, I think she is in serious need of a saddle for Drogon because his back looked rather uncomfortable, to me anyway. But hey, what do I know? I was also shocked to see how suddenly the Greyjoys reached Daenerys, especially considering I was anticipating them to show up at some point during the battle for Meereen itself. Nevertheless, the way Yara and Dany got along does make me wonder if Daario and Jorah might have some new competition for Daenerys' heart. Now, given that it was Father's Day, I equally enjoyed the little line Dany delivered regarding how Tyrion, her, and Yara didn't exactly have the greatest fathers, but they are still doing their best to improve the world in spite of that fact. I also selfishly enjoyed that Tyrion brought up the point that the Mad King had placed vats of wildfire throughout King's Landing, including the Sept of Baelor. As for the last time I will ever be able to say this in my videos, Cersei is going to burn that city down in 1 week, and I can't wait. Anyway, for the most part, I think events have more or less come full circle in Meereen, and we can hopefully expect to see Dany leave for Westeros next episode at long last. I will say, though, that I did very much enjoy the fact that this episode played off of the notion that Dany is the Mad King's daughter, and I do think we are meant to question her moral intentions, especially given the immense power she currently wields. That said, I do think that makes her a very interesting character, as that aforementioned notion came out loud and clear after she chose to listen to the good advice of Tyrion, rather than follow her burning desires to destroy the slaver cities, which certainly paid off for her well this episode. I will say that it was interesting how, in her case, choosing a more humane method of handling the war at Meereen contrasted strangely well with Sansa's advice to Jon to not let his emotions take hold of him in trying to deal with Ramsay Bolton. For example, in trying to save Rickon. In this case, his choice to ignore her words almost cost him the battle. Since I have already started speaking on events in the north, let's get right into it. Now, obviously, the battle was absolutely intense, crazy, and epic. Special shout out to my buddy Alan, who was a soldier in the Bolton/Umber army. Even though the sequence of events in the battle for Winterfell were fairly predictable, I still really enjoyed it. Although I would have also really enjoyed seeing Ghost this episode, considering we haven't seen him for quite some time. Just like so many of you, I think I would have also enjoyed seeing him destroy Ramsay rather than his own hounds, but I guess that also makes for some poetic justice nonetheless. Also, the fact that Davos now finally knows, or at least strongly suspects, that Mel is responsible for Shireen's demise makes me wonder if he won't try to kill her next episode. Now, I am leaning towards the no side of things, since Melisandre did mention to Arya back in Season 3 that they would meet again, and of course that has yet to happen. So my gut instinct tells me that Mel is quite safe and is still needed for the wars to come. While I was satisfied with Ramsay's demise, I was equally pleased to see Tormund destroy Lord Umber, but it does make me wonder where Lord Karstark is, and if he'll be making a reappearance next episode. Another thing that really threw me off was Sansa. Now, I was so pleased to see her become the chilling badass that she was always meant to be, but the fact that Ramsay told her that he is now a part of her at the end of this episode makes me question whether or not he got her pregnant. Also, the fact that she withheld the information from Jon regarding the arrival of the Vale forces also makes me question whether or not that information could have helped the Starks prevent needless bloodshed, but I guess it's all hypothetical at this point. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode, and I would probably give it a 9 out of 10, as it is one of, if not the best of this season so far. Well, folks, that is all for now. Please let me know what you thought of this episode, and if you think I forgot to mention something, or if I said anything that you either disagree with or was incorrect. I do have a video contrasting Valyria to the White Walkers coming up, which has proven to take a lot longer than anticipated, in which I provide both facts on the two groups and my own personal thoughts and theories on the matter. As such, I want to know if you folks would like me to post one big video on the topic, or if you would like me to split them into two separate parts. With all that said, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed, and as always, I will see you all next time.
I cannot give you back your homes, but perhaps I can give you justice.
The one downside of Ramses' death is that I won't have a good excuse to cosplay as him anymore.